What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Engineers That Filters podcast, episode 115. I'm your host, Jake Thompson, and tonight, the bandwagon had already left the station, but I ran and I caught on the caboose. I got some Oberon, baby. Finally.
Nice. Nice.
Feels good.
I'm also drinking Oberon tonight. I cracked it a little early, but
Tall boy?
yeah, it's a tall boy.
Ooh, I haven't seen one of those.
And then I've got a Bolo on deck that I didn't want to crack quite yet, but
Nice.
I'm about to know.
Well, I'm Gabe, and I made a conscious decision not to have an Oberon because I think that would be 5 episodes in a row at this point. It was going to be a lot, so I pulled this one out, which I've had this 6-pack for almost 2 months now, which is the longest I've ever had a 6-pack. This is the Moving Pictures Juicy IPA by Surly, not to be confused with the bike company. It is quite good.
I like that can.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's
Surly. Cool. I'm still boycotting Surly.
Yeah, as you should. But he bought that a while ago, so I'll allow it.
Yeah,
before
wait, what's wrong with Surly?
They're trying to unionize, and then they shut him down. They shut down the tap room and shit.
Yeah.
Well, let me reiterate that. Their employees were trying to unionize, and corporate said, nope, fuck you, and they fired a bunch of them.
And then they straight up shut down the tap room.
Yeah.
They're not doing a tap room anymore.
Yeah, so they're big. They're essentially Amazon except a brewery.
I think there were issues with the tap room not being as profitable before too.
That's weird because the place was always fucking packed.
Yeah, but that doesn't. I mean, I don't know. It just there was a nice place. Maybe the upkeep of it just was.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
they just made them not have the margins.
They're giving away too much free beer on tours.
Yeah,
getting sloshed at the end of it.
It's like the Spates tour in New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, what do you got, Dayton?
Yeah, so I have just some complete trash right now. I'm drinking a Narragansett.
What the fuck is that?
Narragansett is I would put it at I don't know, probably Old Mud, Old Milwaukee.
Okay. So it's
level.
better than Hams.
Maybe closer to Hams.
It's in the same tier.
Yeah,
same tier. It's a New England shit beer.
It's literally $6 for a 6-pack of Tall Boys, and I don't know. It's
that gave me a good reference point. Honestly,
it's exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah, well, honestly, it goes down pretty smooth. It doesn't really have that much of a taste, but it's honestly my favorite shit beer from out here, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
There we go.
All right.
Oh man, already burping. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. As always, find our show on Mondays on YouTube and podcast services. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at ewfpodcast. And go and follow us on Twitch at ewf_podcast. We're live right now, streaming the episode early on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we also play games on Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Except next week, when you hear this on Monday, it'll be on Tuesday night because we're playing the new Apex season. So that should be pretty hot. Server's probably going to blow up, but it's fine. We'll give it a shot. So yeah, check us out for that on Tuesday night. But yeah, let's start off this podcast with some weekly anecdotes. What are some funny things that happened last week? Dayton, you said you had one from the gym.
Oh my gosh, it wasn't even the gym. All right, so this just happened to me today. Okay, so let me set the stage. Okay, I'm just starting this training program, right, to do these big long runs this summer, and part of it is me going back to the gym. I haven't been to the gym in I don't know, a year and a half, pretty much since January of 2020, and that alone isn't that big of a deal, right? It's okay, I'll just be fucking sore. What's the big deal there? But the big thing now is that so the gym that I go to is at my work, and I work from home Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and today's Thursday, so I had to drive into work. So it's completely different than my normal routine where I just go after work. So I stopped working today at 3, right? And I was all right, I'm gonna pack my bag. I'm gonna, pack everything that I need to, and then get going. And that alone takes me like 30 minutes. Like, how the hell it takes me 30 minutes to pack a gym bag for a 45-minute workout is beyond me. But
What did you put in
I,
the
I, have, I have a
bag?
question.
All right.
Why didn't you just wear your gym clothes?
Yeah.
Because like I have to like walk through, like, wait, I partially wore gym clothes.
Okay, I'm just curious why you needed a bag. Like, you just put sweatpants on over your gym stuff.
That's
You
what
bring
I
a water
did.
bottle.
I would feel
What's in
weird
this
if
bag?
I walked into work
Walking
wearing.
through your office in gym shorts and a ratty t-shirt.
Yeah. Like, I
That's
don't know.
fair.
It
All
would
right.
just feel weird.
I'm confused on what's in the bag, Dave. What's in the goddamn bag?
Gym clothes, just gym clothes.
All right.
Uh, but then, and this is the fucking worst part of it. Okay, so I have two sets of keys. I have my car keys. So like, if I'm going anywhere except for work, I grab just my car keys. But if I'm going into work, I grab the other set because it has like keys to get into like our labs and stuff like that. Spoiler: it also has my gym locker keys on it. And I was like, oh, I'm not going into work right now. I'm just going to the gym. I don't need those. So I start driving, right, and traffic is just fucking horrible, dude. Like
Really? At like
traffic is
3:30?
yeah. Traffic is like never that bad by me, but for some fucking reason today it was just awful. And this idiot in front of me was just a fucking idiot. Like I don't even have any nice words to say about this person other than their car was black. And and so I'm getting all fucking flustered by this idiot in front of me. And then I'm like, wait, do I have my gym locker key? As I'm like 3/4 of the way there, and I'm like, son of a bitch. I realized I didn't have it. So then I had to swing around in this heavy ass traffic. I had to turn around in the barbershop parking lot. And then I'm like fucking raging at this point. I'm like music is just blasting. Like I'm just listening to some like drum and bass music, and I'm just like, I just had like so much fucking pent up energy. And then I swing around, grab my keys, right, and then get going again. Traffic's even fucking worse. I get stuck behind another fucking dumbass of a driver who literally didn't even who was they must have been a 2-footed driver because they were accelerating, but their brake lights were on. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? Oh my god. And then I finally got to the gym, and then by the time I started working out, everything was fine, and I completely forgot about this whole endeavor. But it's just like, oh my gosh. Like, so by the time I actually got to the gym, about 45 minutes had passed between when I started. No, more than that. Probably like 50 minutes had passed since I started packing my gym bag to
And getting
actually
to the
working
gym.
out.
Mhm.
And
Yikes.
literally the gym is like 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away.
Now let me ask you this,
Badass.
Dayton. Did all that energy help in a workout to push through? Because that happens sometimes. You're just like your emotions help you go farther.
I don't think it made any difference.
Oh, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
Like I was running today, and I just had a random old embarrassing memory pop in my head, and I'm like, "Fuck this!" And I
You're
just
like
started sprinting.
fuel.
Yeah, exactly. I started sprinting, and like this feels awesome. And then I got very tired.
Yeah.
The rest of the run was not as fun. So I just
There you
burned
go.
all my energy. But I was hauling ass. All right, that's the fastest I've run in a while.
Mhm.
You were
I got a
bossing it.
couple. I got a couple of stories. One cool one just like a similar of like what the fuck is going on. One like Dayton's. Cool one happened today. I was at a virtual meeting with my boss and then this guy from another lab who we've talked to before, working with him on some stuff. I don't know the guy very well. All right, I met him once over a virtual meeting. I met him once in real life. I don't know this man. And I'm hosting the meeting, so I hop in there. He joins first, and my boss is being late. He's like 5 minutes late, so we're sitting there awkwardly. I'm like, I hate this. And the guy's trying to make small talk, which I appreciated. And he's like, oh, where you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Minnesota. He's like, oh, whereabouts? As if he was from Minnesota. I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, like south of Twin Cities area. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm from Burnsville. I'm like, oh, no shit. From Apple Valley, which like Apple Valley, Burnsville, and Lakeville, are a little triangle right in the same area.
Hmm.
And he's like, Apple Valley, yeah, I went to Apple Valley High School. Like, what? And I went to the same fucking high school. Like, he was graduated in 96, so like obviously it's like almost 20 years apart. But it was a very small world thing. I'm like, what are the odds this random dude at Purdue, who my lab ended up working with, went to the same high school as me in Minnesota?
That's crazy.
That was pretty cool. But the fucking SMH moment this week. So I had one of my classes is online only, which normally is fine, but as soon as technology starts getting introduced, shit hits the fan real fucking fast, right? So because it was online, normally for this class, it's called presentation skills. All right. So normally you give a PowerPoint presentation and you make a poster, right? And you present the poster. That's a very typical thing you do for research. But since it was online, they're like, oh, make a virtual poster and then record a video of yourself presenting it. Which I'm like, dude, I fucking know how to use OBS. Like, I'm gonna make this shit look
Yeah.
so good, So like, I got a little picture in picture. I think some fade effects on the ends, made it look pretty hot. So I made my video. But of course, people in the class had issues recording it. I mean, it's not like an expected skill to have. So I had to teach a couple people how to use OBS, which was fine. But already, it's like, okay, this is not expected people in the class. And then we have to, for some fucking reason, present our videos in the virtual meeting, which is just a shit show because WebEx or whatever. When you share your content, you don't share audio. Like you just share what's on the screen. And for some reason, she's like, normally we do alphabetical, or we do a reverse alphabetical. Jacob, you're first. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta get this shit sorted out, right? So like, I'm like, I know this isn't gonna work. So I start playing the video, and I'm like, let me guess, there's no audio. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, WebEx doesn't fucking share audio. I don't know how we're doing this. And then one person's like, oh, just like have it play out of your speakers and have your mic pick it up. And
Oh
I'm just like,
no!
I mean, that would work. So that's what I fucking did. So I like,
Oh.
Not
I
everyone
took
has
my
speakers though.
Well, everyone else on a laptop, so everyone has. I'm the only person with this advanced of a setup. So I'm like, all right, I'll switch my headphones to my speakers, unmute myself, and I fucking move my fucking mic next to my speakers, and I'm just like, I'm just dying inside because like I know the audio quality is shit, and I'm the only person who cares this much. Like no one even knows I'm having a podcast or anything. I'm just like, this is the biggest fucking shit show. And thankfully we got through it. Everyone else was more or less fine. One girl had issues and we couldn't even hear what was going on in hers. But I was like, this fucking sucks. Like, this is the reason I miss in-person classes because like we don't even have to do this shit.
Why not like
if it was in
post the
person.
videos and just say watch them, in your own
I
time.
know. And the thing too, Gabe, is like, so the video we're making, the content is exactly the same as the post presentation. Like we picked one paper, you get post presentation, and you do the poster. It's the same exact paper. So like we've already seen this shit. Like I've already seen everyone's presentation, and
Yeah.
we
Just do
show
it
the
again.
video, and she's like, "Anyone have any questions?" It's like we've already seen this content. Like I don't have any questions. We've seen this before, and she's like, "Pretend like you haven't seen it before." And that questions like, "Fuck off! Like, can we
I
just
hate
fucking
that
leave?
shit.
Let us turn in the videos and let's be done with it." All right, it's such a waste of goddamn time. But yeah, so I was just I was thinking of Dayton too because I know your anal audio quality. I'm like, this is the jankiest fucking shit I've ever done in my entire life.
It literally pains me when I hear that shit.
Well, I feel like, okay, when you're making a video, like people won't care if your video isn't like pristine, but they will care if your audio is shitty, Like if
Yeah.
I'm watching a YouTube video and the video is like 720p or whatever, I'm like, whatever. If the audio is clean, I don't care.
Mhm.
But if it's the opposite, where the audio is dog shit and it's in 8K, I don't give a fuck. Because I can't fucking focus on the video because your audio is so shit.
Sounds like you're talking through a fucking t-shirt the
Yeah,
entire
if
time.
you're talking through a tin can, I don't fucking care. It could be the coolest video in the world. It totally throws you out of the experience.
I totally agree. And the last thing I'll say about it too is, so the professor didn't mute herself during the videos.
She was
So-
typing and taking notes.
There just be some like she like put something down, it'd be sounds, and it's gonna echo because her audio is coming out the same speakers my video is playing out of, and I'm just like, I wanted to die. And again, I'm the only person who gives a shit about this in the entire class. And I was just like, ugh, god damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got through it. That class is over now. I got one presentation left for a different class in my final, and I'm fucking done for
Hell
the
yeah.
semester.
Nice.
But yeah, we're close. Gabe and Joseph, you got any stories from this week?
I have a small one, but Gabe can go first.
I don't have anything crazy. Work's been fucking nuts. They've been putting me on a bunch of shit. But it's just roll with the punches, trying
Yep.
not to cry. So,
Trying not to cry.
Hey,
like,
that's why I'm coming to visit you, so neither of us cry.
well, like today, so they asked me if I wanted to go to Kentucky, which I haven't decided yet. But then like today, they're like, "Oh, you might go to Iowa like next week," and I still don't know. In Iowa, I don't know if you guys know. If anyone's from Iowa, I'm sorry. but it's a shitty state. It's not exciting.
Hey,
And
it's not as bad as Nebraska.
Have you been to
Sure.
Iowa? I
I've
guess you
driven through
drove
it.
through it, Gabe.
I've driven through, yeah.
Yeah.
But also like I know where that project's at. Like the coworker who's there now, he doesn't have anything good to say about it. So it's like
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
just like hoping that they don't need me.
What's this Kentucky shit?
It's just a project that I need to be on site to do.
Okay.
But
it's like
that
a
wouldn't be
week
terrible.
trip or something.
It'd be a week, yeah.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not terrible. But nothing crazy. Oh, today Tim was talking to a guy. He has a project that is for a place that I worked at previously, which is pretty cool. It's like he was talking to some people that I've like worked with before. That was kind of neat.
Hmm.
But
Nice.
nothing crazy, just works, being busy.
Joseph, what do you got?
Go ahead, Joseph.
I have a weird thing that happened to me like 10 minutes before we started recording. I was scrolling through my phone, standard. I was on Twitter, and I got this notification that someone started following me. And I was like, oh, who's this? I was like, oh, I recognize that name. I went to high school with this person. They're like a year younger than me. No big deal. That's kind of neat. See, oh, what kind of stuff are they tweeting? Like, let's go, let's just check it out.
Oh no.
They were just retweeting straight porn, like full on porn. And I was like,
Instant
what?
unfollow.
I like, huh, what is this? And I was like, this is retweeted. Who is this? Like, what does this guy do? Like, is this the guy? Like, is this who I think it is? First of all. So I click on the name. He's following people from my high school.
He just
I
casually
assume they're
retweets
following him
porn.
back. I don't know.
I mean, maybe not after they saw some of the shit he's done.
I don't know. So then I was like, okay, there's a chance someone got on his phone, got on Twitter,
No.
and just retweeted to fuck with him. I scrolled down like a ways.
It's all porn.
All porn.
Porn all the way down.
This guy must have massive balls, because holy fuck.
I got a question. When you say porn, does it mean like click for sensitive content? Is there like
No.
It's just like
There is
dicks
just
and boobs just out there?
yes.
Dicky and ball and vagina.
There's no way that's a Twitter, like Twitter's terms and services. I'm pretty sure you can't do that.
Oh, there's definitely porn on Twitter, dude.
There's porn. I've seen it just today. And like this is stuff, and it's like tweeted 3 hours ago because it says on the thing.
Right. Okay, how many followers does this person have? That's what I really want to know.
Here's my issue with it, right?
Double
There's
digits at least.
There's so many sites that you can do that in private. Like he's purposely following people and then liking.
He has
and
100
retweeting it.
followers.
I mean, I gotta assume a lot of those are bots, but still.
Nope. There are people from my high school following.
That's
him.
so fucked up.
Dude,
Here's
maybe
my
they're
thing.
also like weird people like him. They're like, oh yeah, dude, this is sick. It's curing.
It's got to be some fetish thing. Almost.
But like,
I don't know.
I think some of them are like the porn account too are following him back. Yeah, this one is called Sexy Chris. There's some weird shit in here. I don't want to take through it. Like,
Should deep dive
Here's-
into it.
here's
it's
my
his
thing.
business. That's fine. But like,
who is going on Twitter to watch porn? There are so many other options.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't want to be scrolling through my feed and there's a random porn video. It's not. No.
Well, and it's like everyone else sees it, right? Like they're seeing what you're watching. It's fucking
yeah,
weird.
Like, it'd be one thing if you follow porn stars. Because I could understand that. But if it's just porn clips, it's like, dude, what the
Even if you're
What are you
following a
doing?
porn star on Twitter, what information are you gathering from that?
I mean, it might
that's
be a- I guess
worthwhile?
you don't know.
being like a simp thing, Gabe, where it's like, oh, I
Like-
gotta get her to like me, some bullshit
What?
like that, you know?
I don't know. Like I still think that's weird.
Oh, I'm not saying it's
did.
not weird. I'm saying I could understand that more than just like retweeting
Okay.
porn videos. Like, just go to fucking
Sure.
Pornhub. Like, why are you doing this on Twitter?
Gabe, when Jacob said, "Oh yeah, I can understand following porn."
It's because he
stars on
follows
Twitter."
porn stars.
I saw you just be like, I could see you like looked at everybody else on the camera.
He like opens up my Twitter profile, like, wait a second, Jacob
he's like,
following.
hey,
It's like, is that a normal thing to do? Have I been missing out?
I'm just being like, because there's like obviously like titty streamers on Twitch, right? People follow them. They're like, oh, here's
Yeah.
$100. Like, fucking acknowledge me. That same shit
Sure.
would happen on Twitter for sure.
That's fair,
like
yeah.
DMing people. But like, I just don't understand the porn videos or clips That doesn't make any
Unless
sense.
it's a burner account, like where like they're like, okay, this is my porn account, and then they only follow that kind of stuff.
But
But
even then,
then,
Dayton,
why would they follow Joseph?
Yeah, why would you choose Twitter of all places? Is there
Well,
like
why would you
yeah,
follow
fair.
people from your high school so they could see what you're liking?
I don't know.
And why would
It's
you have
just
her name
weird.
attached to it?
I also
Yeah.
don't know.
Now
Yeah.
I'm thinking if it's the when it's
Like
just
it's
that
straight up
much
his
porn,
last name and his first initial. Like it's you could
now
find
that
it.
makes me. Now I'm wondering if it is a joke. Like someone who knows
Hey,
him is
does this
pulling a
guy
prank.
have a career? Like, how do you find a job? And so, like, they always check your socials. Like,
He's a year or two younger than me.
okay.
He
So-
very well could still be in college. I don't know.
Is
I'm not
his-
good friends with this guy.
He's a
Clearly,
porn
I
star.
haven't
I
followed
have
him
one
on
more
Twitter
question.
until I
more
haven't
question.
because I'm
Is
not
his-
following him.
Is his at username his name, or is it something weird? You don't have to obviously don't say it, but I'm just curious if his at username is like
I don't even want
Jacob M. Thompson or whatever the fuck.
No, it's literally first initial, last name, and then a number.
What
Nice.
the fuck?
So, like, okay, how do you get a job? Like, how do like, they search your Facebook, they find your Twitter, and like, oh, this guy just retweets porn. Like, I
I'm
don't.
telling you, he wants to become a porn star, and he's like trying to promote himself.
All
I can
right,
see it.
maybe.
Potentially.
Does he, does he have an OnlyFans on his bio?
I didn't see one, and I don't
Wait,
want
are
to.
there OnlyFans for guys?
No, his bio just says I'm single.
That's so much worse.
That'd be pretty funny.
I never would have guessed. I mean,
Oh my god.
Can you imagine him like going on a date with someone on Tinder and it goes pretty well? And
They
he's like,
stalk?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can
He's like, oh yeah,
stalk.
follow me on Twitter. And he sends her his Twitter profile.
Oh,
funny as
speaking
hell.
of that, I had one of my previous dates look me up on YouTube and found my old OTL videos.
Nice.
And I was
Did they
like,
comment
oh
on it?
yeah. No, I don't think so. I don't think
Ah,
so.
damn.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening, you could find Dayton and I's OTL videos. There's something.
Yeah.
My
Let's
friend
make unlisted.
my friend Chris's brother edited my first one and added a bunch of terrible special effects, and it is.
Oh, I remember
dude,
that.
I like
It is
that.
something.
I like that.
I know, it's
I
pretty
remember
funny.
that.
You guys are living in the past. You can't stalk off Twitter and Facebook. You do off LinkedIn now. That's the future of stalking.
Dude, I've updated my LinkedIn
I
since
think she did
beginning
on
of
my
senior year.
LinkedIn too.
Someone
See,
told me on a date once that they stalked my LinkedIn. And I was like, why? But then I was like, that kind of makes sense. I don't know.
yeah, like it's. Yeah, I mean, you see exactly.
It's like, what are you
Yeah, I
about?
worked at this place for a couple. You know what they're into, because like
See,
Yeah.
more or less,
Hang on a
right?
second though. With LinkedIn, like you can see who has like searched you and
I
who's
have it
clicked
to
on your
private. They
profile.
can't see.
But then
can
you
do
can't
that.
see who's looked at your profile then either.
I am content with that. I have a job. I don't care.
Oh, I don't know.
But
I like
to get
I like
around
having
that, you
that
can
data.
just search them on like a incognito tab, and then it won't. And then you can, because you can see profiles without being logged in.
Yeah.
So if you're not logged in and you search them like just in Google and you find their link,
Mhm.
you can open it up and it won't tell them.
hmm
That's what my girlfriend told me because she stalked my LinkedIn.
Maybe it was Alyssa's story that made me start doing it. I don't know.
Maybe I need
Yeah.
to update my LinkedIn. Maybe
And
that's
then
how
she
I'm not
told me,
getting
yeah, oh,
dates.
I do that all the time. Oh, her brother did. Excuse me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
I-
My friend did it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't me.
You wouldn't know him though. He goes to a different school.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my god. All right, well, let's take a hard left turn for a minute.
Yeah,
And then
let's.
From
we'll turn
Twitter
back.
porn.
This I do want to talk about this. Man, it was a year ago now, wasn't it?
Last summer.
When George Floyd was killed, we talked about it on the podcast because I mean, at the time, three of us were living in Minneapolis, and we're talking about Black Lives Matter and everything. And I wanted to just follow up on that because thank fucking God, Derek Chauvin, guilty on all charges, motherfucker, going to jail. I just wanted to talk to Gabe and Joseph about the vibe in Minneapolis recently and how it is now. So yeah, it's just I know there's a lot of National Guard presence. I know shit was super tense on was it yesterday, Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Monday and Sunday, it was there were some minor. They were mostly just protests.
Yeah, it wasn't like a riot.
There were three cases, I think, at least, of reporters getting like maced and stuff. That was pretty serious. But those were in protest of is it Dante Wright? Dante White?
Yeah.
I forget if there's an R there.
The Brooklyn
Center.
Yeah, Brooklyn Center. Yeah.
A guy who was shot. So there were protests for that, and then that's why there was National Guard. At least that's what they said.
Right.
And then leading up to the trial, like Tuesday, leading up to them reading the verdict. It was pretty tense. I was following on Reddit on the r/Minneapolis page. They had a mega thread going of like, people just talking about the trial and stuff. And then pretty much, I mean, that was, Tuesday after they read it and it was guilty. It was like, I heard there was like celebrations downtown.
Yeah.
But that was kind of it. I haven't really heard of anything since. Nothing's like stuck out as, I mean, maybe Gabe saw something I didn't, but
yeah, I mean, leading up to it, I think was definitely tense. I mean, the city put barricades on the side of every highway just in case.
Like on the exits and entrance ramps.
On all the exits and entrances. They were prepared to bring in people or state cops from 2 other states. I think it was North Dakota and I'm blanking on the other state. It was 2 states. It might have been Iowa. Gross. But anyways, there's definitely a lot of presence for sure. And the verdict was super, super tense because they decided, I mean, when they're done with deliberation, like they just announce it, right? But it happened to be announced between 3:30 and 4, which is when a decent chunk of people start to leave. So like our work was like sending people home early, and like Tim and I were planning on like going biking, but we're like, we're not gonna fucking risk it, like if there's anything that goes bad or whatever, like we're not gonna have to drive through this or whatever it may be. So it's definitely super tense, but like once, like Joseph said, once it actually got read out, and he was guilty on all 3. I mean, downtown, I watched some footage. It was definitely it's a sigh of relief for sure, but doesn't mean everything is better. It's
I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I want to touch on that, but I just wanted to say first.
Hey guys, racism is fixed now. By the way, I don't know if you caught that.
That was it right there.
Yeah,
I appreciated how fast it happened because I was watching it live. Granted, they were a little past 4. I'm like, you're being the plumber right now. I'll be at 3:30 and 4. Gets there at 4:15. All right.
It was like forfeit, yeah.
But judge came out, immediately read the charges. Jurors like, yep, that's what we said, and he's fucking done. It was very quick. So that was good. But yeah, some of the fucking takes I've seen, like the Nancy Pelosi shit.
Oh, dude, what a bitch.
What a fucking bitch. Do you see this, Dayton? Basically, you probably say it better than I did, Gabe.
I mean, I'll obviously paraphrase, but she used the word your sacrifice. Like the words. Like that he sacrificed his life for this movement or whatever. And it's like he didn't fucking choose to die.
Okay, he was like, hey, yo, officer, kneel on my neck for 9 minutes and 43 seconds or whatever the hell it was.
So we can hopefully send you to jail, which should have been obviously it was clear to everyone, but like there was still that undercurrent of doubt just because of the fucking system.
Man.
That was shit. And then I saw a headline, it's like Brett Favre. I don't know if you guys saw this, was like he basically said like, I don't know if Derek Chauvin intended to kill him. And it's like, okay, first of all, it wasn't murder 1, and also
the charges were unintentional second-degree murder.
Exactly. And I was watching before they were reading the verdict, I was watching the Washington Post feed, I believe it was, and they were talking about the definition of the charges. So it's gonna be a little bit muddy, and basically what it came down to is that, for me anyway, it's like if Derek Chauvin wasn't there, would he be alive? And the answer is yes. So he was a cause of death. You could bitch all you want about, also he had like bad arteries, also this fucking drug use shit, which is stupid. The fact of the matter is, Derek Chauvin was there. He was the reason George Floyd died. That's all you need to know. And you could tell because the jury was actually a pretty quick deliberation. It was 10 hours, something like that?
Yeah,
it was just over a day.
And also with the jury, don't you have to pick, like, so both sides can pick, like, they can be like, so they can send jurors home, right? So if a jury that's like, is there and they're like, yo, Black Lives Matter, then like of course the defense is gonna be like, no, we don't
Right.
want this person. And
Yeah.
so like, because I know with like the case with like OJ Simpson, they had a hell of a time finding a jury for that. So I can't even imagine like it must be very similar for this case. Like, how do you find jurors that are impartial in this
Right.
case?
Yeah, it was super hard. Plus, like, it's a very racially charged case, obviously. So, like,
Right.
even, picking people based off of race, I mean, you want ideally like a wide variety, but that was
Hmm.
hard to do as well.
And
Right.
I don't know how many jurors you typically go through to find a jury for a case, but like I think some of the juror numbers were like 191, which to me I think that means they went through like 200 people possibly to try to
Yeah, that's
get
that's
down
pretty
with the
crazy.
8 or 10 it was at the end.
I mean, Minneapolis is an extremely, I mean, it's the epicenter of this movement or whatever. And it's extremely like left-leaning city. It's like one of the most left-leaning cities in the world, or
Hmm.
in the world, in the country. So it's like hard to get like a juror that's like not,
Right,
clearly like fuck this guy. Like I don't know.
right. So going back to what you said earlier, Gabe, have there been I know back when the killing happened, there was the defund the police movement that was trying to get traction. Have you guys heard anything of because I mean it's been so disheartening for me lately. I've ever since things have opened back up from the pandemic, every fucking day, it's either a mass shooting or a black person getting shot by police or both. And it's just like, and in Minneapolis, it's already been one, if not two. Um, so have you guys heard anything about in Minneapolis things changing at all?
I mean, there's that probe. The federal
Oh,
government
yeah.
has started an investigation into the Minneapolis police to see if there's like any trends between like, is there a trend with them doing, being more aggressive towards certain races or being more, using more physical force than necessary? But I mean, there was a little bit, obviously, like last year, they're talking about the reorganizing or changing
Mhm.
it. I think Denver actually did make a change where like they have a separate department for like mentally distressed calls, but that hasn't gotten anywhere.
I know there were talks end of the summer of like the mayor talk like actually and governor actually talking about like I don't know about defunding, but like reorganizing. Yeah, like you were saying, Gabe. But I
Yeah.
haven't heard anything since then.
Well, isn't that what a lot of people mean by defund the police? They basically mean take money away from the police and put it into social services.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
yeah,
I
That
mean,
police should not be responsible for all the different things they're responsible for, including like a
right.
suicide jumper or whatever. Like they shouldn't bring
Hmm.
guns to that kind of situation. Like it's not needed.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think it's Denver. I think they've made that change and they've seen some pretty good results from it. Like send mental health professionals to, mentally ill people or other situations like that don't need force or there isn't
focus
really a
on
reason for it.
de-escalation
Right.
Right.
rather
Focus
than
on de-escalating than
continue.
like
Right.
escalating.
Because I mean, like for even people like all of us, right? Like you know, I would say very very well off white males. Like
Yeah.
we have really statistically almost no reason to be like anxious around police officers. But
Still am.
yeah, it's like there's literally
Yeah.
like nothing that I'm to be like scared of with the like interaction with a police officer. So I can't even like imagine what like it feels like for like somebody who is
Person of
not in our
color.
position.
Yeah, I was talking to Liz about this last week, but I just think I've just heard when this happened, last year, I was listening to a lot of black creators talk about this stuff and just hearing about like parents have to give training to their kids of what to do around police officers. That's the
Hmm.
part that really kills me. And still, was it a 17-year-old or 12-year-old kid got shot a couple weeks ago, and it's just like,
The girl,
Hmm.
there she was
There's
16,
16.
15 or 16.
well, okay, there's a girl. There's also the other kid who that guy gave him that gun, and he dropped it, but the cops still shot him.
There's the airsoft gun or whatever.
I don't remember. But anyway, what I'm getting at here, fucking kids are getting killed by police too.
Yeah,
And if parents have to, like the fact that parents have to train their kids how to not get shot by police, that's just like, are you fucking kidding me? Um,
Might be a
I
problem.
I really hope that this case does become a landmark case and that it empowers other like people across the country to like sue police officers and send them to trial over these cases, because I would hope that's showing like, hey, you can win, would put more police like officers on trial and put more in jail and try to like push us away from this warrior training bullshit. Because it's insane how many people are dying.
I do wonder too, though, how much, because like there was like a first draft of the police report after this whole incident, like last year, and like how much this case was influenced by the fact that there was that video and like
Right.
everyone saw this video. It wasn't, this guy died and then like reading the police report, it was like they basically said he had a medical issue. We called an ambulance and he was dead by the time they got there. And like that was all it
Right.
said. And
Yeah.
because we have that video of him kneeling on, his neck and, multiple people filming and like spreading the word and
Yep.
getting it out there is part of I would say the entire reason that this happened. That
Yeah.
Well, I
we
mean, that's why
to
he
this
got
point.
convicted, is because of that
Yeah.
video.
I would say without a doubt, if the world had not seen that video, no one would have known.
Right.
Yep.
And
That's a good-
I think
that's a good
that's a lot of a big reason why the people are saying like ACAB, like all cops are bastards, right? Because like in that case, like sure, there's probably some like quote unquote like good police officers in that police department, but the thing is like if the video wasn't there and it was just based off of the police report, then like I mean I'm assuming that there has to be some sort of like peer review process
They're
in
protecting themselves.
in the police like report writing, I don't know, process. But
Well, yeah, there were 3 other cops there that could have
right,
Mm-hmm.
said, "Hey, this report is not accurate," or whatever.
right, and that I think is like the biggest thing. It's like like there needs to stop being like that sense of like protecting like each other in that, because like of course they're gonna fucking protect each other. It's like if they don't protect them, then that cop is gonna like fucking hate them, and then they can probably like get them fired or something. I don't know.
Well, and it weakens their authority too.
Right.
There is okay. So there was one change that was made last year. Dante Wright, the man who was shot last week, they have a policy now where other counties will review, most counties, at least in the Twin Cities area, will review like a separate county will review their like report or whatever. So to show some level of impartialness. So I believe the Dakota County was the one who like reviewed the footage and like did the report, but it happened in Hennepin County, which is where the cities are, some of the entering suburbs.
Well, and it's not perfect. They are pushing body cams more and more, which is important, and they've been releasing that footage more readily. But I mean, yeah, like Joseph said, like if you see something, fucking film it, because like that is how this will start to get more and more traction and be able to.
Shouldn't even have to do that, but
Oh, I know it's super shitty, but yeah, and just a last point, going back to what Dayton said, is like when you're kids, like you're taught growing up, like police officers are good, and then you learn later, like, oh, there's a few bad cops, but like it's the opposite. Like you just have to assume that most police officers are bad, and there's maybe a few good ones, but you can't assume that's going to be the one that's going to come up to you. And yeah, it's fucking shitty, but that's the world we live in right now. So
Yeah,
hopefully, go ahead.
I was gonna say in partial celebration of 420, we watched Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, and there's
yeah,
an overly topical scene of
this movie is early 2000s, by the way.
2004, I
Yeah.
think. And yeah, there's a scene where they get stopped by a police officer for jaywalking, and obviously it's making up to, but like this cop's like about to arrest them for like all kinds of shit and pulls a gun on them, and like obviously it's like made to be a bit, but it's we were watching this and like Derek Chauvin got like the trial was today, or like the verdict was that day, and like that was what 16 17 years ago that came out. And
there's a bit where the main character is in jail with a black man, and he's like, "Why are you in?" He's like, "I'm black," and then he's like, "Aren't you upset about that?" And he goes on this monologue, obviously for comedic purposes. But at one point, the main character tries to break out of jail with the other, like the co-star of the film, like his best friend or whatever, break him out. And the cops like all happen to leave, and they all like come back, and they're like, the black man's trying to escape, and then they like they're like, oh, you guys can get out of here. Like we're gonna get this guy, and then just like have him. It's just
Like the guy
obviously
in jail
like
just has a book,
he's
and
like
they're
he's
like,
just
he's got a
sitting reading.
weapon.
He's like, I'm just reading a book, and like book secured, and like take the book away from him. Like
Well, we've learned recently that cops can't identify weapons, so
yeah, it's it was like funny, but it's funny and sad type of a
Yeah.
deal where it's like, oh my god, this hasn't changed at all.
well, and also, I mean, if you're not watching the Falcon Winter Soldier, that is
Yeah.
handling race very, very well and talking about can a black man be Captain America in America,
Mhm.
and it's very, very good conversations on that. We mentioned last year about Watchmen too, that came out recently, has really good conversation on race. So if you want to watch stuff that's dealing with it very well, I recommend those for sure. All right. Right turn back.
Yeah,
Back
did we take a
on-
left before?
We're doing left forward. We're taking it right.
Yeah, all right.
Uh,
Okay.
Wait,
We're
don't we,
back
need
on
to
the
take, don't we need to
original-
take 2 rights to get back on track?
Michigan
you can turn
left.
wherever you want to turn, man.
Get
Michigan
out of here
left.
with your
I
logic
still
has no
understand
place
Michigan
here.
left.
All right.
Gabe, tell us about our final topic here.
Oh, yeah. So this also, as you know, came from a conversation between Tim and I during our lunch walks, as all of my ideas come from. I gotta give him some credit. So we were talking about there's a subreddit. It's called Like Us, and the concept is pretty simple. It's like any animals that seem to resemble some very like human-like behavior. So like you'll see a bird mourn the death of another bird, like us. So we were kind of talking about pretty briefly, but is that like the bird actually like feeling that emotion? Or is that something that we're just like putting our anthropomorphized fuck, I knew I was gonna say it wrong. Damn it. All right. Anthropomorphize.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
In our emotions onto that bird, because that's always like the conversation that comes up in that subreddit, right? It's like,
Right.
oh, that's not like they're not capable of doing that, But then you also see like, videos of cows, something that Americans eat a lot of, be very friendly or have some like very like human like emotion or reaction to certain people or events and stuff. So that's pretty much the topic is at what level is it like actually like we're all animals and it's just like we can all evoke emotion, or is it like we're special somehow and we're putting our emotions into them?
So with that, with your bird mourning story or
Mhm.
bit, I have heard there are 2 species of non-human animals that will mourn the death of a love, or like mourn the death of another like part of its
Creature.
family or whatever, without there being a body. Like even after the body is gone, like they'll still mourn. And I want to say that's elephants and crows are the only 2 animals that like even after the body's gone, they'll still like mourn the loss of it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
well, elephants are known for being pretty smart.
mhm.
Well, like I know for dogs, if you
And
have like
crows.
a dog's friend die or whatever, you're supposed to let the dog see they want to know why it's gone, because they think
Mhm.
they don't have object permanence, so they
Yeah.
Mhm.
just think, oh, he's gone, and they get really stressed out because like their friend's gone. But if you show them that it's actually dead, like they can accept it,
Mhm.
supposedly.
Mhm.
I feel like this episode is gonna make a lot of people who know more than us about animals really mad, but you know what? We're gonna dive in first anyway. I'll take the first crack. I think if you look at the evolutionary spectrum, there is a line. You know what I mean? Like below that line, fucking nothing, and above that, yeah, I think so. That line hovers around some birds, dogs, cats, anything past that, really. I think birds. I know you say crows are smart. Maybe it's
Crows
just-
are incredibly smart.
Mhm.
They can talk like humans.
I think crows are considered, if not the one of the next most intelligent animals. It's like dolphins, crows, and elephants.
Okay, I didn't know that, but I do
Yeah.
think definitely some birds. The joke is birds are robots. Some definitely fucking act like robots, dude. Birds creep me
Yeah.
the fuck out. I don't think they have emotion. They're lifeless husks that are there to peck people, and I don't like them.
Dude, I saw this single-legged seagull in New Zealand,
Ugh.
and dude, it creeped me the fuck out.
Still
'Cause
think about it, apparently.
I do, dude. It was like, and it would like stomp on the ground, like it would like jump up and then like stomp on the ground, and like I'm just like, dude, what is this fucking bird doing? It's cracked out of its mind, like.
Well, so the reason this conversation started is because we were talking about how I was talking about how sometimes I wish I could just be a duck because there's a lot of ducks on our walks and they don't have to deal with my work. They just get to be ducks. And then I was like, they don't really have a conscience. And then he was like, well, all living things have consciousnesses. And I was like, what about grass? And I
Even
said,
if they have, okay, you can make the argument that they have conscience. They're not aware of them, though.
yeah. So that was where the conversation came, and I was like, I wish I could like have a dog's like see what a dog's thoughts are translated into English. Like I want to know how complex they get. Like I want to know if it's just like food, or if it's like, oh, I miss my friend. I hope I could see him today. You know what
You
I mean?
obviously
Like
don't follow the Twitter account Thoughts of Dog.
I do follow that, but
It's pretty funny.
my point is like
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever know how complex. And
Haven't you
it
seen the
depends on
movie
animal.
Up?
Oh my god.
I
Yeah.
I've heard now, but dogs are like something everyone knows and is very familiar with. I think dogs definitely have emotions. You can tell like when they're sad or when they're happy, and they can
Yeah, they've
also
got-
sense that in other people as well.
Mhm.
And dogs I think have a varying degree of smartness. I do think some people take it too far. Like I've gotten calls from my mom sometimes, like, "Oh yeah, Tucker did this. Isn't he so smart?" I'm like, I feel like you're putting your own little, you're injecting some of your own, wants into that. I'm not saying he's a dumb dog. He's done things that he's been trained to do or whatever. But yeah, I think dogs obviously have emotion, but I think there's an extent in there. At some point, Gabe, we do put our own, because I mean that's what we do with everything, of putting our own like feelings on it. We judge it through our lenses or whatever. So
Yeah, I think I kind of adhere to that too, where it's like, I think to some degree they can, and I think it also depends on the type of animal it is, obviously.
yeah,
But there's definitely a point where it goes a little too far. And it's just, trying to understand why they're doing something. I think that's a very human thing to do, right? You're trying to understand why they're doing it. You're like, oh, well, if I was them, I would be thinking like that. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
I've heard too, like with dogs. I was reading this, I don't know, article or study or whatever it was. But dogs evolved to have more expressive facial features, or like facial muscles, I suppose, even though they don't communicate with other dogs or like canines, I suppose, with facial features. Like that was purely to get an emotional response from their human like caretaker. And like this is like early dogs,
Yeah.
like breeding from wolves type thing. Where like
Gen 1 dogs.
yeah,
Rev
the beta,
1.
if you will, the beta dog.
I mean that makes sense, right? If the human's in control of the breeding, they're gonna pick dogs that smile at them.
Yeah, or smile or
Or
like
feed them,
yeah, move their eyebrows and like yeah, like I've heard so like maybe your dog is sympathetic. Maybe they're just moving their eyebrows in a way that they know they get a response from you.
If I move my eyebrows like this, they'll give me a treat.
Yeah,
I mean that's honestly
Well, I mean,
true.
you tell them sit, like you teach them to sit because you give them a reward, right? Like
Yeah.
it's literally a trained response.
And like we
But-
do the same shit. If we want someone to like us, we act a certain way.
Mhm.
It's the same thing.
Well, and I also look at like animals' body languages. I find that shit fascinating because that just like can translate across multiple different like species. And like you hear those studies where like when people are celebrating, they typically like have their chest out, hands out, like type of a deal. But like blind people do it too, and they've like never seen another human do it before. Or like, being depressed or like, off put, you kind of like close up, and you can see that in animals too. Like you can tell when an animal's like a dog is comfortable or not, like depending on
Fucking
its perspective.
spread eagle like this with their
Yeah.
belly out, they're fucking
Well, and
chilling.
you see that about cats too. Like if cats are showing their belly to you, like they're very comfortable because that's like to them
Your
a
weak
weak
spot.
spot,
Mhm.
I
Ben, where
think
you
that's
at?
just
I don't
cool.
want to put you in a box, but I'm curious, from the vegan perspective, what your thoughts on this are.
The vegan perspective. That's all you're good for.
Yeah, I guess so. I
Our
guess so.
vegan correspondent.
All
Oh,
these blood mouths don't know what animals truly are like.
yeah, because I'm quite the animal whisperer.
Yeah.
No, I mean like I'm just trying to like I don't know. I mean like there's definitely like you said, Jacob, like a line where there's like consciousness. Except for me personally, I don't base the animals like worthiness based on if they have consciousness or not, because like fucking chickens, dude, chickens will eat their eggs, like they don't
If you don't take them away, yeah.
eat, well, no, not well, if they I don't know the details behind it. All I know is that chickens will eat their own fucking eggs. Pigs are also very intelligent, but pigs will also eat like dead pigs, like
Pigs will eat anything you put in
Yeah.
front of
Yeah.
them.
yeah, so like there's I don't know. Like animals do some fucked up shit. Humans do some fucked up shit. So I don't know. Maybe we can like bond over that. With other less intelligent animals. But no, I don't know. I don't.
Have you heard of the mirror test, Dayton?
Yeah.
Um, it's so interesting because not all cats can pass it, but like some do, and it's just super. Like I saw it was on Reddit actually. Some cat noticed itself in a mirror and noticed it had ears and like started playing with it. It's a very cute video, but it's just like the concept of it, recognizing its reflection. Then you see videos of like they put mirrors in a jungle, and then like a gorilla sees it and like
dude.
beats the shit out of the mirror because they think it's like an enemy gorilla.
Yeah.
I'd imagine like the vast majority of animals do not pass the mirror test because they're not
There's very few.
aware of
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's also like an interesting bit where it's like, but like you said, I mean, it doesn't mean that they're not like worthy or anything, but I think humans put worth in that. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think like it's pretty obviously. I don't think insects have feelings.
Some spiders pass. I don't know if they pass the mirror test, but I've seen certain spiders. There's this video of fuck. I wish I remembered what kind of spider it was, but they do like a little dance with their arms. I'm sure you've seen the videos. And
Crab rave.
yeah, but spiders. Like as like a not a mating thing, but like a territorial thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see this spider like do it, and then he like pauses and kind of looks at it and gets up really close and like starts doing it, and you can see him, and it very well could be the same thing. But like,
are we
if
just
you watch,
putting? Yeah, we think he's figuring it out, so we want to
Right.
he's figuring it out.
but if you watch these rituals with other spiders, like obviously they don't do the same motions back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So like they don't get up as close to each other and they can recognize it. But like this one's doing exactly what it's doing, and so it's trying to figure it out. And
Right.
I think not all insects are dumb. I think certain ones are. But I mean, have you
So-
seen the bee movie? Bees are pretty smart. They went to law. They went to court.
Often when we talk about animals, we talk about instinct, right? Like they're like genetically coded to know how to do certain things, right?
Mhm.
And I'm always just so fascinated by that. And like, what does that feel like? Because I feel like humans don't really have any like instincts like that. Or if we
Yeah,
do,
you
not
Yeah,
do.
really-
you do.
I mean,
Have
besides
you ever
like,
been
fucking
horny
eating.
before, Jacob?
But
You
like,
have instincts.
Fight
Have you
or
ever
flight.
feared for your life?
Yeah,
but, like,
fight or
nothing
flight,
like
dude.
I need to move north or move south for the winter.
But you don't
and-
need that. That's not a requirement for your survival. It is for some
like
birds.
that feels like a bigger thing, a bigger instinct than just having sex. You know what I mean?
Dude,
Like,
fight or flight is scary how your body just goes in autopilot and just like figures shit out.
Dude, it's like
Yeah.
when I got my bad mountain biking crash. Dude, like I could still bike. Like
Yeah.
I must have had like crazy adrenaline going through me because like I don't even remember being in pain. Maybe it's because my brain was like fucking shut the fuck off. I don't know. But
You hit
guess-
the
I guess
brain
what I
or
mean-
the pain part of it, and so it didn't feel it anymore.
yeah.
let's say like only 5% of our life or whatever consciousness is instinct. For animals, it's like 95%. Like that to me, I can't even compute how that feels. You know what I mean? Like you just don't have any like thoughts. You just do what you're being moved to do to survive. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Do you think that we've created a place where we don't need to survive as aggressively as they do, right?
I mean,
You know what I
I
mean?
understand it evolutionarily. I'm just saying, if I was a insect, I guess I'm going back to that. An insect that's 95% instinct, what would that feel like? But it'd feel like you wouldn't even be aware of it because you wouldn't be aware of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just do it.
I don't think you.
That's
Yeah, you
weird.
can't even like comprehend it because
Have you
you
ever
wouldn't
been
have
in
any
fight or flight?
awareness.
You just do shit, You just
Yeah.
run
I've heard
or fight.
arguments that a certain level of people's anxiety is instinct. Like you're you want to be cautious of things around you. And
Right.
so like, depending on, obviously everyone's anxieties are different, but like there's similarities in that. And even like your habits are they're instincts at that point. Like once you make them, like you don't think about it. Every day, every morning, I have the exact same routine. I wake up, brush my teeth, shower. I soap my body in the same order every day. I've been doing it for years. I don't think about it. That's an instinct.
But you
Like,
weren't. But the difference is you weren't born knowing how to do that. You know what I mean?
but not all animals have to show their young how to do things. Like
Sometimes, but sometimes they don't. They can just they just know how to do certain things, like right off the bat.
I
You know
think
what I
a
mean?
good
yeah,
example is like interpersonal stuff though. Like when you're like communicating with other people, like you body language, like going back to body language, when people if you have some level of social intelligence, when
yeah.
people are uncomfortable or comfortable
Right.
or don't want to be like it's easy to tell. But it's
Hmm.
like no one told me. I mean, there's obviously body language like specialists and professionals. But like no one told me, "Oh, this person's uncomfortable." I just know. It's
Right.
just
But
like
did
this is
you
another
that
human.
this goes back to nature versus nurture though, which is, and I've said before, I'm on the nurture camp. I'm just saying, Gabe, like, do you know that because instinct, because you were born with that knowledge, or because you've learned that as you've grown up from watching TV or watching your parents or watching your friends? You know what I mean? So I just don't know where the line is of things that you were born with or things that you learned
I think it's a little column A,
unconsciously.
a little column B, but I don't know. I feel
I
like
think
you
it's
can even at a
something.
young age, I could tell when you can tell when people are upset or
I mean,
it's
yeah,
not
if
as
someone's sitting
nuanced.
with their arms crossed and talking like in short bursts, like not very
Mhm.
few words, kind of curtly, like that's gonna give off a tone, and you're gonna read that tone. Like whether I don't know, I think it's kind of hard to not tell when someone's like pissed off,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I just don't know how young I was when I realized that.
I
You know,
babies can tell whether you're pissed off or not.
yeah,
Like infants, if you're being like upset, like in the room and like being upset, they'll read that and be upset. Like
I'll start
I,
crying.
yeah. Or if you've got a calm tone, they'll read that and it'll calm them down. Like that,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know?
I think another like hallmark of like humans and instinct is the fact that we can like because we're aware of the instincts, we can like rewire them, right? So like in
Hmm.
the case of like fight or flight, think about like people who are in like I don't know like MMA or something like that. Over time, they've probably dulled that
Yep.
reaction down like so many times to where like you often see like the high level fighters, they're just super calm. They know what they have to do once they're in the ring, and like they can just like be dodging punches and stuff like that, and like they just are rock solid. And like another like personal example for me, right, is like so if something's flying towards you, right, your reaction is probably going to be to dodge it. But,
Yeah.
I'm a goalie after
I
all,
knew that was
I'm a
coming.
fucking
God damn it.
goalie, okay?
Gonna catch
I
that
You're
I
shit.
gonna catch
catch
that.
I catch that shit,
Catch
okay?
the bullet.
Yep.
Hmm.
I'm gonna ask one other question that's related, but it's kind of a non sequitur. It's mostly a Dayton, just because, again, I'm sorry, the vegan angle. But
Oh
that's
my
not as you,
God.
but I'm just curious if the vegan community has ever talked about this. How do you feel about mouse studies? Because they're very useful and prevalent in like nutrition, like, or even just like we need to test a drug, do it on mice first, and then you do it for how many weeks, and you kill the mice and you do autopsies to figure out what happened.
So I'm gonna be hesitant to say the general consensus because I'll say the general consensus,
Yeah,
except there's
speak for
always
all vegans.
there's gonna be a lot of people who are still against that, like regardless. But generally, like the accepted like way of looking at veganism is like you want to reduce the amount of animal suffering as much as possible, and in a lot of the cases, so like for like vaccines and stuff like that, a lot of vegans will kind of like turn like a blind eye to it, or they'll just be like, this is ultimately for the betterment of us, and it's also like it'll benefit us like more than the mice will, even though a lot of vegans try not to like attach like personal worth, or like they try not to compare personal worth, right? Like life versus life. But I don't know, like it's hard to say like that my life or like one of your lives is worth the same or less than a fucking lab mouse. Like I don't know, it's hard to say that.
Well, and my take on it is like, it's not like we're kidnapping mice from the wild. It's like these mice were specifically bred for this purpose, and there are also tons of regulation.
You said that about livestock though too.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't like that argument, Jacob. I'm gonna be real with
But
you.
also, like, there are a ton
I
of
think that's
regulations
better.
to make it as like non-suffering as possible. Like, you have to follow very specific rules so you don't like torture the mouse or like kill it in a super horrible way. It's like it's done according to a like code, like rules and regulations.
I mean, so is animal agriculture, but I want to get back to like the comparison of like life versus life. So like with vaccines, a lot of vaccines are, I think they're like inoculated or something like that using like eggs or something. I don't know like the exact way it works, but I think that there's a lot of like there's like egg in some vaccines, and a lot of people are just like, yeah, whatever, like it has a tiny bit of egg in it, I'll be fine. Like it's
Right.
it's ultimately a net positive for me taking this vaccine, and
Yeah,
that's
right.
that's their argument.
So you're not a true vegan because you got the
I don't think
COVID
I don't
vaccine,
think it
then, right?
contained egg.
Oh,
But that's not a live vaccine.
I know.
'Cause I saw it. Somebody was posting about just COVID stuff and how they're just somebody was saying like fuck the people who don't choose not to get the vaccine, like they can just get COVID, like fuck them or whatever. And someone's like, not quite that simple, because there are some people who can't get certain vaccines because they're immunocompromised and they can still die from those people. So, it's not as cut and dry. That's because you're immunocompromised, you can't get live vaccines. You can get dead or non-live ones like the COVID vaccine.
I think
Anyway, that was
the
interesting.
J&J one has a ton of controversy because it used like fetal cells or something. That's a whole other can of worms, but
I,
uh,
I didn't think that blood clot thing was interesting because I was seeing a lot of takes on Twitter where like, yeah, 6 people out of whatever the number was, I forgot. I don't know. I'll just say 10 million. That's probably not correct, but
Yeah.
I'll say 6 out of 10 million die from blood clots, but like 6 out of 10,000 die from birth control, and no one's done shit about that. So it's like maybe puts the things in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you'd save more people than like protecting them against COVID than
I think the take was like
people.
somebody fucking fix birth control. Like you didn't for some
Yeah.
you don't care about women, you care about
It's fear
vaccine for
mongering, really.
Yeah. Anyway, that's our show for today. Went a lot of places, but I think it
The
was
kitchen sink.
a
Fucking-
solid episode. Thank you all for listening. Again, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at ewfpodcast. Go ahead and follow us on Twitch, ewf_podcast, and catch us every week on YouTube and podcast services. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.